At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
This episode is brought to you by Prime Video. In the small town of Holland, Michigan, nothing is ever what it seems. Behind the tulip festivals and pretty houses lay dark secrets that threaten to tear a marriage apart. Nicole Kidman stars in this darkly twisted thriller about a wife and mother whose quest to uncover her husband's secrets may get her more than she bargained for. Holland, streaming on Prime Video March 27th.
Hi, we're sisters, Amy and Nancy Harrington, the founders of the Passionistas Project, an inclusive sisterhood where women find support, purpose, and empowerment. Each episode, we share stories of passion-driven women breaking barriers and redefining success. Today, we're chatting with Hillary Cohen and Samantha Luu, the powerhouse duo behind Everyday Action, who are turning Hollywood's leftover meals into a lifeline for LA's underserved communities. So we are so excited to have you here today and to spread the word about all the amazing work you're doing. And we want to start by asking you each, what are you most passionate about?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, here it's about ending hunger in Los Angeles. I know Sam also feels this too, is that no one in America should be hungry. We have plenty of resources. So personally, I'm most passionate about solving that problem on a national scale because it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And our, to add on more specifically for Everyday Action, our big passion where we started, it starts with our roots in the entertainment industry. And we are passionate about changing the way the entertainment industry looks at food waste and also looks at, using their resources for good and putting it back into the very industry that they're a part of.
So let's take a giant step back for a second, because it seems like you both also just have this deep-seated desire to give back. So where does that come from in your childhoods growing up? Were you taught when you were young to be of service to people? And tell us a bit more about what your childhoods were like.
My mom has certainly set that example to me as a young age. I was definitely dragged to every soup kitchen I can imagine. Actually, I have a big aversion to ketchup because when I was 5, my job at the soup kitchen was to put the ketchup bowls on the table. And after carrying these bowls of ketchup around, it's kind of how that all started. But my mom always gave and taught me to do that. Like when we would travel, keep every toiletry item. You can't have that. You don't need that. Would take whatever the little you need and give. She's also a nurse, and my dad is a pharmacist who's also someone who's also taught me how to give my whole life. So my parents are people who really kind of always told me and taught me that, and to put others first. I was always put into schools or systems and things that were very different, that were not people that looked like me or people of all different backgrounds. And I think that really did open my eyes up to lots of different experiences. And then as a grown up, living in Los Angeles, I think it's something that you just can't ignore. But yeah, my parents are definitely people who taught me at a young age that you should put others first.
Yeah, same for me. My dad is a Vietnamese immigrant. So he just comes from a culture of not wasting. I grew up not wasting a single bite of food and other items as well, and always learning how to reuse things. So I really sort of grew up accidentally a bit sustainable. And then also living here in Los Angeles and coming to a big city, and not having much to eat and being food insecure myself when I first came here, just understanding what that's like a bit. And it's a city of millions, and it can also feel really lonely. And, I was raised in a culture that food is the way you show love, and it's community and friendship, and it's how you can easily start a conversation and bridge a gap. So, I just, I grew up around that. And my father also, for many years in our community, he's one of the founding members of a local soup kitchen and was really active. Every week we would go and deliver meals. So it just really sort of always carried over and was something that was really in the back of my mind, when I first came out here, because I was also hungry.
So tell us about your individual paths to the entertainment industry and what you did.
Working in the entertainment business is something I've always wanted to do. I saw a production of Charlotte's Web when I was 5 and wanted to be an actress my whole life. And then when I got to college, I double majored in theater and film. Set foot on a stage and just had such anxiety, and just really realized that being in front of the camera was no longer for me. And I really enjoyed creating and helping. And I always call Sam and I high stakes puzzle solvers. I'm really good at uncracking a puzzle, and I can see a system in 5 minutes and figure out how to make it better. So being an assistant director kind of, found me in that, but I always wanted to be in the business. When I graduated college in Massachusetts, I moved to LA. I started working at a modeling agency because it was the first job I got. I learned a lot of what I don't want to do, though I loved that experience and that it wasn't entirely for me. And then I found, luckily got into the DJ training program after first seeing a movie in Massachusetts, first day assistant directing a movie. And that kind of started my career, and the rest, I guess, is history. But it's definitely something that I always wanted, and still there's days of work on, you would get to set and be like, oh my God, that light is so big, or it's snowing in California. It always was still magical to me at some point of the day.
Yeah, same. I always wanted to work in TV and film. It was, it's actually where my name comes from. I'm named after Samantha from Bewitched, because my dad learned English by watching TV. So it's almost fate that I came out to work in television. Myself, I just came out and started working in the industry right away as a PA and as a non-union assistant director. And then a few years later, luckily got into the trainee program and really started my career from there. And same thing for me. I think we, as assistant directors, we are the coordinators of set, right? We're logistics, we're coordination, we're scheduling. We're a lot of customer service too, and caretaking. So I think we were really sort of meant professionally, prepared to do what we do now. It's sort of an accidental career side door that we didn't realize we were going to end up in. But yeah, I always found TV and movies magical. It's how, it's where we escaped. And yeah, it's been really great to work in it, and also even greater to find a different path to make a difference in it.
So when did you guys meet, and did being women ADs, assistant directors, was that and is that an unusual thing, and was that part of how you were drawn to each other?
Being a female in the entertainment business is difficult in any profession that you're a part of. So if you're listening and you're in there, keep going. We see you, we hear you. It's definitely something that I think if you're a strong woman who supports women, you bond over. There's certainly, people that aren't that way, and it can be a toxic place, but women who support and champion together do bond. I had been working on the set of NCIS Los Angeles, I think, for about 8 seasons. I was a key second AD. Sam was coming in as a second, and it was a time where I was kind of, I guess, creatively in a rut there, and really wanting just someone who made me laugh and had fun with. And we interviewed Sam via Skype or Zoom before COVID. So it was before it was a normal thing to do that. And was hard to get someone's personality through a computer. And boy, did Sam we instantly vibed. And we just kind of became actually best friends fairly quickly on set. It was, you spend a lot of time with each other more than you do your family. We travel a lot on our show. So I normally would stay with the second at a hotel. So it was the first time we were in Long Beach, I was like, hey, you want to share a hotel room? We both were kind of scared about it and had the best time. So we definitely have bonded over that. And then just, building everyday action is something that, that's how we feel as people, right? I think that's what's most important, beyond our work on a film set, is how we felt about people and life. And we both see things fairly similarly but different, and like complement each other, and like, yeah, finding a best friend who is passionate about being a ball buster when you need to, but also being like super sympathetic and empathetic at the same time is like a special human. And that's definitely Sammy Luu.
Yeah, I think with our, when we met, I had made my career with day planes. So I just worked, a few days here, a day there. And I was really lucky because I stayed really busy. I was actually so busy that we had to do my interview on Skype. I was actually across the street working, and took a break out of my day to interview. And I was looking for more of a home at the time. I'd sort of been bouncing around, and while that was really fun, I just kind of needed sort of a more family setting, and I got it at the show. And, we really sort of hit it off as friends. And then, with lockdown, we really sort of saw that it was a chance to make a difference, and we aligned in that way. And I'm not sure that it's possible really in the long term to do it oneself. You always need some sort of partnership. We've seen many other smaller nonprofit, grassroots orgs that have sadly folded, or just, not been able to move on because it's just been that one singular person. And this is definitely not a mission that takes a singular person. It definitely takes a partnership and a friendship, and, real, just real true like coordinators and friends on top of it. We do everything in this organization together. And I think because we worked well together already professionally, in the entertainment business, this sort of just was a really easy segue.
And it really helps us, I think, have difficult conversations. Like Sam and I have such a solid friend base. Like, obviously, there's times in every action where we have really disagreed. There's been times where, one of us has done more or less, and we've worked through that entirely together as a team. And like, I just feel like it's made us stronger because we're really focused on our mission and our work. And that's like the most important to Sam and I. So it's like we have this friend base, I think, that has allowed for us to grow things, more organically and more like how we really want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Behind the scenes, we've been through so much, in our first year of being open. I lost my only brother, just a few months after we first started. So, we've both lost we've had a lot of personal loss on both ends, as well as, health issues that I've dealt with. And we've sort of run the gamut of, and then, of course, local, wildfires and emergencies, no big. We feel like we've really run the gamut of that. And I don't think it's possible to keep going through if you don't have a really solid base together.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, first of all, to hear about your brother. I can't even imagine that. And you guys are proof of the power of sisterhood, right? So tell us about what inspired Everyday Action. Why did you start it?
Sure. So, really, from my very first day on a film set, I went from an independent world of making a movie in Massachusetts to being on the set of Private Practice. I remember the actor on this movie, Kurt Fuller, explained to me what an AC hose was, and I could not understand the concept. I was like, what do you mean they like pay to hose AC in? And like, fast forward to 10 years of my career, like, where's the AC hose? So showing up to the set of Private Practice was like really insane. It was something I dreamed of doing. So, being 22 years old from the age of 5, it really did feel like, holy cow, this is nuts. I was petrified of being late. So I really, there's a 400-day training program. I would go every day 2 hours early and sleep in my car in a sleeping bag because I was so afraid of oversleeping. And I also have insomnia. So it kind of worked out. So I would go really early and sleep, and I would, obviously the first, few months, everything was so magical. So like watching the trucks park was fun. So I would watch the trucks park, and it was upsetting because it was, in Skid Row or everywhere in Los Angeles, that has unhoused. And it was like, we would just like crumble past them and then set up this like magical circus of nonsense and amazement of all this excess and then leave. And we would have the excess that day, like there would be extra catering, there would be extra food. And when I asked, like, I remember this day, I was like this stupid, like, oh, I'm so excited, I'm going to donate all the food. And it was like nails in a chalkboard, like it all went into the trash. And I was like, oh, no, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, this is illegal. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. This is illegal. Yeah, I got to go back to work. And then like I don't know, after a decade, it was just like this one day that I was like, why would this be illegal? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And I just like started to go down this rabbit hole of like, what? And then thinking about it as like Grubhub, right? So Grubhub exists. When you order food, does someone come to your house and examine the temperature with which it has been delivered and the time at which it was traveled and who prepared it and all of that nonsense? No, it's not. You pay for it, it gets delivered, you enjoy your food, and you might get sick, you might not. That's your choice. But people who don't have choice aren't given that option. There's all of a sudden all these requirements, which is just insane. But Sam and I are high stakes puzzle solvers. So I just had this idea because I also spent a ton of time on a film set watching production assistants and background artists and many others in the business. The pay scale just so drastically different. And like watching people that were my friends, my coworkers, not be able to live in their houses while coming to work and not be able to find other employment, was really difficult, especially as I moved up and was able to support myself and those people weren't. And it was so frustrating to be in that environment. So I wanted to create a system where production assistants and background artists somehow got paid money to reallocate this food to then people in need across a 90-mile area of outreach. And it was like this whole thing I started, thought up really on that day, but just never put it together. And then COVID like hit this stop, right? I had time to think about things longer. I had time to do stuff. I was already sewing masks, which is like a whole nother long story we don't have to get into. But during that, Sam came over my house. It was like the very first friend I invited over. We were like across the yard. She was modeling my new drinking mask. So you could have a straw through it with like plastic. It was going to be the new cocktail mask. Like what? That nonsense. Anyways, we had such a great time. My sister-in-law, Carrie Murray, was there, who's like such a big part of also starting Everyday Action. And we just talked about it. And, I knew that I needed someone just like I described, like someone who is insanely skilled in solving problems, who cares about people, who understands me. It's like it just needed to be Sam. Like I just knew it was Sam. I really thought about this person long and hard. It makes me emotional because like we did build this plane and fly it together. She is so cool. And yeah.
This is why we love Hillary, because we bonded over being sensitive. First of all, I think the drink straw mask is genius, and I think that could fund Everyday Action. And you should take it to Shark Tank. We're gonna need him again. I can just feel it. God forbid. So you had this idea, and you were hitting this wall of like, no, it's illegal. So how did you push through that? And how far up the chain in the entertainment industry did you have to take that? Because red tape in the industry, for anybody who hasn't worked in it, can be insane. So what did you have to go through to make this happen?
Well, the truth is it's not illegal. It hasn't been illegal for many years, thanks to the Good Samaritan Act, the Bill Emerson Good Samaritan Act. It's also been ratified recently, so it includes even more, area of like coverage. And it's not been illegal for a really long time. It's something that is something that most companies don't want to take the liability responsibility. So for us, when we realized it wasn't illegal, then we just knew right away what we needed to do because we work in entertainment. So we knew liability is what it's all about. And luckily, most studios actually have donation agreement forms. It just wasn't something that they had signed over very easily. And we knew right away that that's what we needed. So one of our first things that we set up was a liability policy that's custom to our needs. And yeah, we really got our yeses that way pretty easily. Anytime you're like, I will take all the responsibility, it's all off you studios, they were super happy to add in extra clauses to put more blame on us, and we'll take it. When we looked at it, one of the first questions we asked was, the truth is anyone can sue us, and anyone can sue anyone for anything, and is this worth it? And without hesitation, we both said yes, it is. There's just no world it wouldn't be. And we knew with COVID at the time that the food would be prepared and handled even more safely than before. So there really wasn't a better time to sort of jump in this way and kind of show firsthand to studios like, hey, we can do this. This is possible. We can do this safely and responsibly, and we'll take all the liability you want. And just let us take your trash. Don't ask where it goes. We'll just let us take your trash. We will give it to those who need it.
But yeah, Sam, we had experience in the business. So to work on a film set, you have to start paperwork that's like the size of a CVS receipt. It just kind of like folds out. And they want to know, like, I'm surprised you need a fingerprint. So it's like, we just knew for people to let us pick up the trash that we needed to have the same sort of paperwork system in place so that they felt that we weren't coming after their protected bubble of the film set. We just want their trash. Like we always say, we don't care about Martin Scorsese. We just want your mashed potatoes. It's just thinking about that differently. And then we were like, okay, we need to have a board. I remember Carrie saying, I'll be on your board. And I went home and was like, what's a board? So we put together a board, and we knew it needed to be people that were in the business that also could help spread the cause, right? Who had Instagram accounts that could help us, that worked on film sets, that were directors, actors, all those things. So, we had a Rolodex, so did they. So all of us went on a Rolodex. We told every person we knew, hey, we have this thing. Sam and I were working on NCIS LA. Scott Gimmel, who's been a long time supportive of Everyday Action, was the showrunner at that time, absolutely signed us on, was our second show. Actually, Good Trouble was our first show that we got with Troy and Belisario, who's one of our founding board members, who is a star and a director of that show. And so Good Trouble and Everyday NCIS LA were kind of the first two shows that we're going to do it. And it was like after that, so like a third show called me and Sam. We were like, how'd you get this phone number? And it quickly changed from me and Sam having Zoom calls of convincing people to let us do it to then asking us to do it. So that went from, this little thing to us now working with, Netflix. We work with Disney really exclusively. All the NCISs are a big fan of Everyday Action. It's really sad because film production is changing in Los Angeles so drastically. We pretty much have every production right now, which is about 8, which is very scary. But we are still picking up from all of those sets, and that's really how it grew, was proving concept and then showing it was so easy. And then it's Sam and I, right? We both logistically handled all of the logistics of it. We make call sheets for a living. We know how to read them. So we just get them in your distro. We put together details. We then put it back to a map that's very close to traveling. And again, Sam and I travel with the circus. So we're aware that going to Santa Clarita one day and then going to Long Beach the next day and then going back to downtown, that's not weird for me and Sam. That's a normal day. So our team really functions like a production company, which is why I think we've been so successful at working with production companies, is we've always operated from that AD mentality also in terms of like how Everyday Action operates.
Yeah. In addition to that, our driver program, our industry driver program, is actually drivers from the entertainment industry who have been PAs, who have been crew members, who have been background actors. We started with just PAs and background actors, and then we had to sort of shift out further to crew members with having the strikes and having the slowdown. And so we were able to actually be a part of a set and just be in and out and really stealthy, because our drivers understand how to be around a set. There's a certain protocol. There's a certain way you even read the location map. And that specialized skill is something that we really felt like was a smart way to sort of also drive a program to sort of give back into, within our own community as well. So, for us, we just realized that our specialized skill, as well as understanding how to navigate, sets and production offices and protocols, it was a really easy progression for us.
So let's take a step back and describe to everyone what the program is, how it works, because you've been talking about partnering with the sets. So tell everyone what exactly that means and what you do once you leave the set.
So we reallocate food from film and TV sets, corporate events, grocery stores, festivals, really anywhere that serves bulk gourmet catered food. But we also pick up raw food. We also pick up, McDonald's type food. So really prepared food or food of any kind that is about to be thrown out that's still edible. So, something that is maybe one day past the best by date, but still edible. We pick that up and then we deliver it to a network of beneficiaries in need across a 90-mile area of outreach. So we go from Santa Clarita to San Pedro every day, delivering food to people who need it. And that's people who live in lower income housing, shelters, people who are supported by community fridges, the unhoused themselves, and local grassroots nonprofits that are also doing further efforts to feed those in needs. Sam and I built this map ourselves We went, from Santa Clarita to San Pedro, calling every nonprofit and place we could find. We still onboard new beneficiaries monthly. We still go visit those places. But all of those places, have different hours and different times. And it's just kind of like putting the logistical pieces together. And we're actually sitting right now in like the evolution of everyday action. So, since founding, like we said, we operate like Grubhub. We pick it up, we move it to its place. We never have a place to stop. We pick up a lot of food late at night, especially on a Thursday or Friday, because the film set has much later call time on those evenings or afternoons. And then it limits where the food can go because less places are open past 8 o'clock. So this warehouse, it's called Operation Barebones right now, but FISH is the Food Insecurity Shared Hub, and it's in partnership with several other nonprofits in Los Angeles, SELA, DePaul, Los Angeles, and St. Vincent Meals on Wheels, and it's sponsored by the Daughters of Charity. And it's going to be a place where we can collectively come together and help more in need, both with mutual aid and in food. They'll have our own little storage units, and there'll be eventually a fridge and freezer so we can bring our food here and repackage it.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So you have mentioned the amazing Carrie Murray a couple of times in passing, and I want to give her the due she deserves, because she has built an amazing community called the Bra Network, and we have been very fortunate to meet a lot of women who are part of that. How important has Carrie's participation been, and also just community in general, in making this all happen?
I mean, I think Sam can even attest, like we had a meeting when we were making masks. So we thought masks were going to fund everyday action and sat down with Carrie, and she was like, you got to cut one. You're either making masks or you're starting everyday action. You can't do both, and she really expected me to have this like long journey about thinking that. And I was like, everyday action, done with masks. And she was like, oh, all right, well, let's get started on that, and just has really helped me and Sam, in learning how to grow a business. Sam and I are really good at, again, solving puzzles, being kind of bossy, but, building a business is something that is new to both me and Sam. My dad founded, made his own business at the pharmacy group my whole life. So like watching someone do that was an example, but not in a similar space. So I lost my train of thought for a second.
Yeah. Carrie's just, not only has she been a founding member, she's literally just been a founding human of, as soon as we started. I think she was our second, Zoom call, and she really sat us down and helped us, navigate just being business owners, and also, running a board, running events, finding different donors in different spaces. She's also, of course, like brought us into her own space, and that's given us so much help as well. We've had so many different bra members who have helped us, build our website, build our branding. So, build our first photos. So we've had so much strong female support from her. She's been a pillar, and even to this day, like any little thing, we can just call her and be like, Carrie, help. She is one of our biggest contributors during Thanksgiving.
Oh,
she drives
her and her
herself,
daughter come every Thanksgiving. Yeah. It's insane. Like this year for Thanksgiving, she hosted an entire, I think it was called Team Taters and Peas, or she even had her own logo. She got another refrigerator and just totally showed up. Like, if there is a human being that has helped Sam and I from day one, it's definitely been Carrie and her entire network. Like Sam said, Stacy Beeman has done our whole website. Kathy Shu made our photos from day one. Jen Courier has done every gala for us. So there's been so many people in her network that she has brought to us that, Everyday Action really wouldn't be a part of. And I think what she and her network are a part of right now is so important, and is something that especially female in the entertainment business, I think need to hear and do so much more, which is collaborate over competition. And the stronger we are together, it's Sam and I are so good at celebrating each other's successes, and imposter syndrome, if you believe in that or not, is definitely a real thing. Sam and I, running our own nonprofit is something we're still do we run our own nonprofit? Oh, we do. Okay. It's she has been such a person of you do this, celebrate each other, own it, and know about it. So we are really grateful for Carrie and the Bra Network. If you're not a part of it, you should be, because it's a really great place for a community, and a great place to find, just women who are doing great things all over the United States.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you mentioned your drivers, and I want to hear more about your team in general. I know you two are the main people, but how many people are on your team, and are they volunteers, or how does it all work?
Well, so we have a group of volunteers that sort of volunteer in and out with events and some with driving. We've had a few that are really have been, God, they've been volunteering with driving with us since we first started. And some are sort of more like seasonal drivers. For our driving program, we have mostly like part-time drivers. So they sort of day play like how I built a career day plane and kind of working here and there. A lot of production assistants and background actors and stand-ins, they will sort of day play as well as crew members. So it's really nice to be able to do something for a little supplemental income that you can kind of supplement on the days that you're not working with us when we have a slot. And we have a pretty small team of drivers currently. I think we're around, what is that? Around a dozen?
10, yeah.
10 to 12. Yeah, we kind of fluctuate as well, which is nice because we offer that flexibility. You can get booked in the afternoon and cancel on us, and we'll find someone else to drive. But our group are really just stipend drivers. Internally, we have one assistant who also is our outreach coordinator, and she does a ton of stuff. Christina actually used to be a former driver for us. And she's one of our favorite employees. Do you want to talk about
Yeah,
her?
Christina is like one of our favorite people. She moved to up north in Seattle area, and just needed another part-time job and had a hard time finding one. So we were like, hey, why don't you come continue helping Everyday Action, because that worked out really well. So she helps us out literally with so much like internally that allows Sam and I to continue to grow Everyday Action. And on top of Christina, we also have our board. All of our board has volunteered from day one, and they really have helped us grow Everyday Action into like such a great place. And now we're trying to like expand the board into committees, and all those volunteers that Sam talked about who've been there since day one are now going to come up and be, like volunteer coordinators or help run Thanksgiving. And our Thanksgiving event, we try to feed as many people in need in the week of Thanksgiving as we can, which really started on us founding. It was like we started in July, then it got to October, and I was like, we should do something for Thanksgiving. Like, we're a nonprofit that feeds people. I don't know what that means, but let's try this. So we were like, let's just have people cook food and deliver it to my house, and then we'll like collect donations and we'll make as much food as we can, and like let's see what we make. So we got like 450 meals, and Sam and I went with this one volunteer, Jim, to Skid Row, and literally just passed them out with a photographer, and like went with our friend Jack and took all these photos and like tried to show, what happens in Skid Row on Thanksgiving, which kind of makes it's like the biggest support it receives on that day. And that has taken off from that. Last year, we did almost 1,500 meals in a commercial kitchen. Like, we tapped out, I think, at 1,000 meals at my kitchen before we had like this amazing kitchen from On Kitchens donated. And that is a team of like 100 volunteers, because that's people who drive, that's people who donate food, it's people who come to our kitchen and they come clean. It's such a big effort. So, Everyday Action sometimes is really big, and sometimes are really small. It really just depends on what's going on and how funding is going. Ideally, once we're fully funded, we'd love to have a team of like actually like 7 to 10 fully paid drivers a day that are like sustained. We love to have like a warehouse manager. We'd love to have all the things that would be internally supported. But, every nonprofit never has enough time, money, or resources. It's just what you do with what you have. So Sam and I, actually, our van is called Lady Row because our very first run, which is a very emotional story, but we ended it with saying not today, but maybe tomorrow, which has kind of been our whole motto from founding, is not today, but maybe tomorrow. So she's called Lady Row, is maybe tomorrow. So Sam and I always say that when things are like really crummy, we're like, well, maybe it won't be this bad tomorrow.
Or maybe we can't help today, but maybe we can help tomorrow,
Yes.
But, in addition to those volunteers, we've also had so many colleagues and friends and family who come and help us. and give us their skill. Many who are from the industry themselves. Shout out Joe Jenna, who has done our directing for our gala 2 years in a row, and really just every single human who helps us really puts the action in everyday action.
And fellow ADs, like
Yes.
that's our fellow AD team and PA team has been so helpful. All of our events are run by ADs, and like our gala, everyone's like, man, your team's impressive. We have like, we come in like a film set, and it's fun to bring that force to, everyday action. So we are so grateful because there are teams of writers, directors, actors, producers, every from the top to the bottom that have been a part of everyday action, whether that's in funding it or showing up to help paint our warehouse and
or giving their talents.
Yes, yeah. It would not be possible without like this entire community, like you said, which is really what everyday action is about, is inspiring people every day to do something for someone else, to build community, and to put down your phone and to just go.
Yeah, and not things, everything that you're looking at in our office, including the desks that we're interviewing on and the chairs we're sitting in, it was all rescued from landfills. So this has been rescued from different production offices that we're moving, or TV shows or films that we're shutting down. And instead of these items going into the landfill, they've actually furnished our warehouse space. And we've also been able to share with our warehouse partners.
Fantastic. Amazing. You mentioned Thanksgiving, which is obviously a busy time of year, but there's also just been a lot happening in LA in the last few years with the strikes. But most recently, also, this is about a month after the LA fires that we're recording this. So how did those impact you? And did you shift your focus a little bit to help out in that situation?
I think it helped. It affected everyone who lives in LA, like whether you business-wise or personally. So I think there's no way that you could not be affected by it. The outreach, I think, was beautiful to see. As an organization, we're really focused on like the long-term focus of that goal. It's really beautiful how much support comes right at the beginning, but kind of like when someone dies, right? You get all these flowers, and then you get some cards, and you get some meals, and then by like month 5, people have moved on. So we're really focused on that day, that time, and trying to build and prepare for when the bigger support does leave. What we did instantly was really try to support individual families in need, because that's really what everyday action does, is support individuals in need. So there are many who reached out to us who are suddenly displaced or suddenly in need. I think we're up to our 7th family of supporting just supplies. We try to collect what their basic list is, get it through all of our social channels. We had, a few funds donated. So trying to get, that collected, and then donate a $500 Target gift card along to every family. So we focused on that. Unfortunately, our network in need doesn't go away just because of the fire. So if we suddenly stop serving our network in need, that network, those people no longer get those meals. And the added support, that's why I said it's so beautiful to watch new organizations and new things come out of this, out of disaster relief. So we are focused on the individual. We are focused on feeding those in need, but we are also focused on supporting our continued network, because those people also still need the support on a daily basis.
So how can people, organizations reach out to you to either get support or to provide support?
Sure. So we always are looking for new beneficiaries in need. So if you're in Los Angeles and you're, a nonprofit or organization that's serving food that's in need of meals, I always tell people we're hard to support because we're not predictable, right? We reallocate what is left over. So we can't say, yes, we're going to provide you 700 sandwiches on Tuesday, because we don't make the food. We just reallocate. Can't call Chef Bob and say, hey, Bob, make me sandwiches. So that is difficult. But if you're able to give us, your normal schedule, if you have a refrigerator or a time where you're normally serving, we can certainly put you on our map and support you when we're able. I don't know if you want to talk more about. No. Okay. No. And then,
sorry, I'm sorry.
There's so people coming in and out of our warehouse today. So it's like, hello. And then clients coming in, we always want to pick more food up, especially right now because film production is scarce, and we can pick up, as much or as little food as available. Sometimes people ask like, oh, well, first of all, people always assume there's not going to be a lot of waste and that it's always going to be less than it is. So we understand that you think there's not going to be any, but it usually ends up being more than we think. But also 5 meals is really important, because those are 5 people that would have gone otherwise without. And since we're already reallocating across this map, chances are we're already in your neighborhood already. So for us to pick up those 5 meals in addition to what we might be already picking up, that does make a lot of impact. So we do come for really any meal. Sam and I have picked up one meal, reallocated that to one person, and that really has made a big impact in that one person's life. So those are clients. And then individuals in need, we do try to support as much as we can. If we're not able to constantly deliver meals to you, we try to provide resources for where you could further, get help and resources. And then if you want to join our reallocator team, we're always looking for reallocators, which are volunteers to help drive. You get the details from Sammy Luu here, and she works really hard to make sure they're awesome and on time. We'll get them in the morning. And we just need people, it's like up to 4 hours of your time, but it could be as little of an hour. It really depends on how it goes. Again, it depends on how the drop goes.
Yeah, we're at the mercy of production schedules, not our timing. But we can guess pretty close.
But, sometimes we pick up from a Whole Foods and that location is like a standard time. So we're able to work with people, and we do need people all across our map. So that's from Santa Clarita to San Pedro and all the neighborhoods in between, because anyone in those neighborhoods is helpful, because we might have a last minute call in Long Beach while we might be in San Pedro. So just knowing you're interested in helping food delivery, one day you might be the food superhero. So if you're interested in saving food, please let us know.
Beautiful. And what else do you guys need? What do you need funding? What can people do to support you?
So Everyday Action's in a really big pivotal year. Sam and I did build this and work 2 full-time jobs. So this being one of them, and this volunteer and the other working on set for, 2.5 years of this, almost 3 years. And then our show got canceled, and due to the situation in Los Angeles, have been forced to work at Everyday Action full-time, which is something we wanted to do, but Everyday Action is certainly not financially ready for. So this is kind of a make or break year. We have to raise $600,000 this year for Everyday Action to sustain. We do feed close to 100,000 people a year. So to keep up with that, it does require funding. We want our PA and film production driver program to be sustained and provide more than $100 stipend per day, provide an actual daily salary that people can rely on. We have dreams for growing this across the country because it's so easy. And just helping in Los Angeles, SB 1383 exists, and that is that everywhere has to reallocate their food. So we want to help do that. So we do need help in funding. If you are interested in donating, you can donate on our website, which is youreverydayAction.org. Or if you're interested in helping us get funds, we really need fundraising committee members. We need grant writers and people who are interested or have experience in finance and investment. That's really what we're trying to do right now, is solidify our board to help Everyday Action grow. Sam and I are really good at this whole side of it, running all the stuff, picking up all the food, being the spirit of it. But there's a whole other thing that we just could use some help with.
Yeah. You can also always volunteer with us in a myriad of different ways. And we have more than just the finance committee. We also have all of our events committees. Thanksgiving has its own committee. We love putting it over there this year. And we always need support with our gala. So our gala is just a few months away, and we will always use any fingertips that want to send a million emails asking for items for our gala auction. So we can use support in any sort of way, physical or digital. So just let us know, write in and find out.
Speaking of the gala, it's May 17th at Intercrew. If you want to join, tickets are going to be going on sale in about a few weeks. And there's only about 90 tickets available this year. So if you've heard all you heard today and you're like, hey, I want to join those 2 goofballs out on the gala, May 17th is your day. Stand by for tickets.
And our theme is the recycle ball. So for something that you've worn before, or recycle or something out of recycled materials. So have fun with it.
Excellent. And you mentioned briefly your vision for the future of Everyday Action. So tell us where you see it in a few years. Where do you want it to go?
Currently, we're sitting in it. Fish is actually a crazy dream. This warehouse is food insecurity shared hub. We just got into this brick and mortar space. We have spent the past 6 months renovating it as a team. The Daughters of Charity have done so much in sponsorship, doing the bathrooms. Just Saturday we had 40 people here painting every square inch of it. So it is a really beautiful space. It's something that we're raising money for. Once the full fridge and freezer is here. It will be so cool. But like even Sam and I being able to be in the same box is a dream because we've always been in our own homes. So like coming to work every day with your best friend has been like just kind of the most fun thing to do. Aside from fish, we want to have a food truck one day. I see a time where there's just a free food truck in Skid Row that we can just pass food out every day. And then expanding, everyday action should exist anywhere film production is or anywhere where there's major food generators, which is every major city in the United States. It's very easy and we should stop throwing food out. Again, there should be no one that's hungry in America. We have the resources in the United States. It's just not being reallocated properly. So if every city focused on it, or if our entire country did, we would not have this problem. Ireland is a country that there's one company that does it across these 3 hubs and they reallocate all the food and they have eliminated a lot of hunger across their entire country. Just something we need to focus on.
So now that you're in the office and get to enjoy each other every day, what is your favorite story about each other from film days, from this time in your life? What is the moment that you think kind of captures who the other person is?
Sam likes to use this expression, excuse me, really, really loud when she wants to get someone's attention. And it's always at a time when like you really need someone to yell that aggressively. And you can't see Sam on the screen, but she's a little bit shorter than some people. And she's got this mighty loud voice. And it's just so funny. And it's so much of her. She's a spicy koala, as she likes to be called. And like Sam, whenever I'm like really sad, I'm like, can you just yell? And she's like, excuse me. And it's really funny. And it just like, I love that about that story. Just is Sammy for me.
I really saw you didn't choose the koala.
Oh, she dressed up as a koala. She did dress up as a koala. Sorry. She did dress up as a koala at NCIS LA to try to get LL Cool J to come to our gala and stood outside of the trailer with a sign that said, will you please come to our gala? He didn't, but it was awesome. And she does have a picture with LL Cool J as a koala. So that also was awesome.
There's always this year, Todd. My favorite Halsey story. I mean, which one? I think that my favorite was what was the EatsCon, right? It was EatsCon, our first EatsCon. I wasn't here. I was out of town. My nephew was graduating, so I was out of town. And Hillary was like, "Yeah, we'll do it. Don't be scared. It's this little festival," and it was it was like. What, 6 carfuls?
Yeah, it was like a festival of like 100,000 people. It was like the size of a Coachella, really.
Yep, that's hilarious. She says yes to all our jobs, and we don't always know. But yeah, we've both done that. Insecure also did the same thing to us. They called us at the end of their show, and they were like, "Oh, we have some, random like set dressing items. We'll like drop them off." And each of us were sort of out of town staggered. So I got the first load and I was like, yeah, bring it by. No big deal. I'll put it in my garage. And a 40-footer showed up with 2 pallets. My garage can't fit my car. So I fit the pallets, but barely. They were very sweet men who helped. And then I think I left the next week and then they called Hillary and she was like, yeah, I'm in town. Bring it by. And it was 6 pallets. So we don't always know what we're getting into. That's our favorite story. When we say yes to something and then we show up and
we often get to like a ridiculous job and we'll be like, oh no, we can do this and it's fine. But Sam and I tend to like, that's why I do love Sam. It's like when we get ourselves into those situations, I know that we'll be able to get ourselves out.
We always find a way.
That's fabulous. So I can't believe our time's almost up, but we could talk to you guys forever. We love what you're doing. We have one last 2-part question for each of you, which is, what is your dream for yourself and what is your dream for women?
Oh boy, that's a big one. I think my current dream for myself, because I think those always evolve and change as we go through life, because I'm turning 40 this year, is to really let things go. Like I certainly just hold myself to a level of perfection that's stupid and I don't want to do it. So I want to let that go. And then I think that's also my thing for women is like, I think as women in general, we hold ourselves to this like unattainable level and we spend so much of our evening tearing apart all the things we did great, which we should just be saying, look at all the great things I did. Because everyone does that enough. So I think that all of us as women need to like every day, maybe go home and write down how awesome we were if you don't already feel that way. And then if you don't feel awesome, say it until you do, or call some of your women friends and say, hey, I don't feel awesome today. Why am I awesome?
Yeah. I think we do that daily.
Yeah.
I think my personal dream for myself currently is along the same lines. I think to be a bit more proud. I'm not the person who is the person who's out shouting that I'm awesome at all or trying to take the credit. And I'm super lucky that I have a partner who is always telling me how awesome that I am, but I don't necessarily like want attention. And I think really sort of stepping into accepting that and, you know, being proud. You can be proud and confident without being, you know, egotistical. And it, you know, it's a fine like balance. And I think it's something that most females struggle with, you know, when they're in leadership. You're sort of like just slapped with imposter syndrome all the time. In addition to sort of like some competitiveness, which is not us at all. And it never has been. We're very much about collaboration and supporting women. And that's my like goal and hope for females is that they find partnership and friendship and support networks like we've been able to have and build together. Because I think that's just the only way forward. You know, it's the only way forward that I see in general overall for everyone is community, you know, and especially female community. That's my hope, just to strengthen it and keep it going.
And to dominate right now. Females need to dominate.
Thanks for listening to the Passionistas Project. Since we're not only business partners, but best friends and real-life sisters, we know how unique and truly special our situation is. We know so many solopreneurs, activists, women seeking their purpose, and more, who are out there doing it all on their own. They often tell us they wish they had what we have. So we've created a space for them and you to join our sisterhood, where trust, acceptance, and support are the cornerstones of our community. By joining, you become part of our family. We'll give you all of our sis tips on building meaningful relationships through the power of sisterhood and all the tools you need to thrive in 3 key areas: business growth, personal development, and social impact. You'll learn from our panel of Power Passionistas who are experts on topics like transformational leadership, letting go of perfectionism, the power of community, and so much more. You can connect with like-minded women and gender non-conforming, non-binary people who share your values and goals in chat spaces, at online Passionistas pajama parties, and virtual and in-person meetups. And you can register for our exclusive series of online courses designed to help you tap into your intuition, find your purpose, bring your mission to fruition, and integrate diversity, equity, inclusion in every aspect of your plan. Be sure to visit thepassionistasproject.com to sign up for our free membership to join our worldwide sisterhood of passion-driven women who come to get support, find their purpose, and feel empowered to transform their lives and change the world. We'll be back next week with another Passionista who's defining success on her own terms and breaking down the barriers for herself and women everywhere. Until then, stay passionate.
This your boy Worldwide Ty. I'm with my player partner Yo. Do you know you money is nothing but a ignorant conversation about wellness, where me and my boy Yo cover topics across business, lifestyle, health, and fitness. And we also touch on different things on how to give you the step-by-step guide to be able to remove yourself from places, people, and things that don't service you. So come join the conversation every other week with me and Yo as we dive into money for season 3. Peace.